What's going on, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be running you through pretty much everything that I've learned, having spent $11,000 towards my new AI offer. It's going to be a lot of theory talk and explanation over some of the struggles we went through when running ads, how we overcame them, and how we've been able to consistently get a solid ROAS. In recent months, we've been doing like a 10x, 20x return on ad spend. Granted, you have to have a high ticket offer, usually when I'm working with a client, in which we will deploy our same methodology for ad strategy, funnel building, and then the backend AI automations. A sweet spot to be is at least $2,000 for your ticket price, and then we have enough wiggle room to where we can profitably spend on ads. But the big basis for today's talk is going to be directly in Ads Manager. As you can see, maximum, let me just refresh it. So as of right now, spend $11,000 actively right now on our money making campaign that's been getting us tons of solid qualified sales calls. We're spending $100 a day. So on this campaign alone, we have 61 website schedules. And what a website schedule means, it's a qualified booked call. In my eyes, qualified meaning the business owner put that they make at least $10,000 a month. If they don't, then we don't reward Meta with a result. So in total, this campaign is actually booked more like 80 something sales calls because I have a downsell in which you can get my AI toolkit, and it's more of a do it yourself using my automations rather than with my team doing it for you, in which case we'll also be setting you up with a whole funnel and a high converting ad strategy that complements the AI sales system that we build out. But yeah, just going back to the inception of time, this is like September of 2024, so literally a year ago. So we've come a long way scaling up this offer. If you guys remember the profile visits or doing DM campaigns, message campaigns back when those were really trendy in 2024, we've come a long way. So what I'm going to go through today is how I go about business now, how I run ads now for both myself and my clients, things we look for, whole nine yards. So to start off, within this ad campaign, we've tested multiple different creatives themselves. So everything, and I know this is going to sound cliche, we all sick of hearing it, so I'll try not to touch on it too much, but everything really does start with your offer. What I mean by that is if your offer is not attractive enough to cold traffic, the guy next door that made his offer a little more sweet is going to get all the business. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm a financial consulting firm, and I'm offering a retirement plan. I'm like, hey, if you work with me, I'll help plan for your retirement. Go book in a call with me. I'll see you on the other side. You may get some interest, but not really anything, right? Compared to the guy next door, he's like, hey, I will help secure like at least $50,000 in your retirement account, and I also offer you a free consultation call, which is normally priced at $300 for my time, but I will give it to you for free. Even if that's a little bullshit as far as like the time frame or like, oh, like I'll pay for my time, it's going to be so much more attractive because people are able to visualize the results. So what I often like to do, so don't just package your offer, but package it in such a way where the lead is able to see some sort of value they're going to get out of it. Especially when running ads, people are very selfish and very critical. They do not know, like, or trust you. So you really have to give some sort of an edge. Like for my offer personally, I'm guaranteeing 30 book sales calls within the next 45 days of system deployment, in which we're running ads for our clients, we're building out sales funnels, and then we're funneling all of that traffic that we're generating onto our AI appointment setter model that automates SMS, email, voice, Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine yards as far as messaging channels are concerned. So, we're creating the ecosystem, setting them on their way. But if I instead packaged my offer and say, hey, I build out AI automations, I will help book your sales calls. Specifically in marketing, there's too many people out there that are already doing that. So I would get nowhere, to be honest. Marketing's pretty cutthroat right now online, but if you're just running a B2B offer or a B2C offer, you can get away with maybe being a little more lenient with the guarantees you're giving. But I love to give some sort of promise and then a risk reversal. Great example of a risk reversal I've done for a client. So they run a sales training course, or like it's more so sales consulting, and they help optimize performance. So we were thinking, because this business owner that came to us, he came to us and paid us because he's never run ads before. He's never set up a funnel. He does not know how to package an offer. He's good at what he does. He's good at sales, but as far as the marketing side of things, that's where we came in. So he's like, yeah, like I'm a consultant. I come into businesses and, I help optimize their sales performance. And so I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. So we set up an offer. It's like, hey, mind you, he works with multi-million dollar companies. So we didn't give like a specific revenue goal or a specific percentile, because even a 5% improvement for a multi-million dollar company could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you have to be realistic with your metrics, right? Especially with bigger sales teams, it's going to take longer to get the job done. So we packaged it in such a way it's like, hey, I will increase your measurable sales performance, meaning conversion rate, ROI from ads, the way these sales calls are going, increasing show up rates. So just overall, all of the measurable KPIs that you typically have, he will help increase your measurable sales performance over a 12-month horizon. And we're kind of playing around with the time frame, but time frames are huge is what I'm getting at, because then they're able to visualize how long this is going to take to do such a thing within a 12-month period. And if we don't increase your sales performance, money back guarantee, and host a free sales workshop for your team. The other benefit of the workshop is that's like low-key a shoe in the door just to drop some additional value. But, as you can imagine, you can position it any way. The universal offer builder we do is what the offer is as far as the tangible result that you're going to be driving in your services, the time frame that takes place in which you're going to get this service done, and the risk reversal if you don't satisfy what you're offering, right? That's how you can build the formula for that. So now that we're done talking about offer, that's literally top of funnel. Nothing else matters until you got that done. So when it comes to creative testing, it's more so about what's getting good engagement. What are people reacting to? What's getting good clicks from your offer? As far as the actual creatives themselves, I'm a huge fan of UGC ads, meaning, video ads. Like, let me show you. Check it out. Like on this ad, I've spent over $1,000 on. I'm not going to play the audio because it's not going to sound good, but you get what's going on here. I'm literally just talking, I'm walking, and my movement is engaging in itself. And then I'm transitioning to go high level, showing how we set up our builds, the results that we're getting, right? Super straight to the point. Usually a sweet spot for ads is going to be about 30 seconds as far as like how much money you're putting up. You'll notice that one was a minute long. And because of that, my CPM is pretty pricey here. So the longer a video is, the more expensive your CPM is. CPM means cost per 1,000 impressions, meaning how expensive is it to show this in front of 1,000 bodies, right? So for this metric, because it's over a minute, we're looking at $100, over $100, but these are all under a minute, like 30-second ballpark, and that's why they're a little bit cheaper. So CPM is something to consider, especially if you're starting off with a budget. Don't expect to run a 3-minute ad and wondering why you're breaking the bank just to get a result. The reality is it's because your ad isn't straight to the point. Another thing to consider, people have TikTok brains, so the first few seconds is everything. And I know this is also like no shit, but really within that first part, you have to have a hook explaining your offer. That has to be one of the first things that you get out the door. Call out your audience and then put your offer out there. And now all of your creative testing will be driven around the offer you're putting out. So if you're testing an offer, I would have the same exact format, like, the one we just saw of me talking, holding a coffee. So if I was creative testing, what I would do this exact same format. The only difference would be the initial hook, the initial offer that I'm giving. Nothing else would change. And that's so, imagine we're like, back in 5th grade, just elementary science. We're only changing one variable and the rest is a control. Best way to go about this too, stand in the same exact spot and just spitball multiple different offers as far as the wording behind them, maybe like the time parameters, all of this different stuff. And then the rest of the video, you can just build a Frankenstein out of it now and have the rest of the video the same. And so it's very, very clear at that point which one is getting you the best results. And that's going to be the first step. Now you got your offer dialed, and then we kind of turn to opt-ins. So within Meta, you are ideally looking for about a 10% opt-in rate. So this is a look in a best case scenario. So, once you've got your offer dialed and you're getting solid clicks, cool. We've got our creative set up. We're getting interest built. Now that we have that interest, we have to convert that interest into a transaction of information for us to get their name, email, and phone number. So this is really where our initial landing page, opt-in page, is going to come into play, in which we need to be explaining a little bit about what they're going to receive. If you straight up off the bat, like, oh, if you want to enter name, email, phone number, your opt-in rate's going to be like a fraction of a percent. I like to give them some sort of incentive. So my transaction for information, if you give me your name, email, phone number, I'm going to shoot you over a 7-day free email course. And all that is, each day I just give you some more value. I'm plugging videos of mine and genuinely trying to provide some insight, but also, underlyingly showing that I'm a subject matter expert in this field and you should listen to what I have to say and book a call CTA from there, bada bing, bada boom. So the best place to be is about a 10% opt-in rate. So imagine 1,000 page viewers. You also have to understand that some of these 1,000 page viewers are going to be tire kickers, window shoppers, competitors. So we of course have to filter some of that engagement out. But if you can get to where 10% of people that click over to your landing page are actually giving you their name, email, and phone number, you're in a solid spot. So what I would recommend doing for your actual landing page, have like literally a 30-second, 1-minute video. That's what I do. Just quickly running through things and explaining yourself, explaining what they're going to get. Short and sweet, bada bing, bada boom. That's it. And then specifically for my offer, I explained that on the other side of this opt-in, they get to watch my VSL. Of course, I don't call it a VSL, but the whole idea is to incentivize them because I'm about to explain my whole service delivery. So it's like, hey, give me information. I'll show you exactly how this works. No bullshit. And honestly, my VSL is no bullshit. It's 30 minutes long and I explain everything because why waste time? It's the way I'm seeing it, but you don't have to do 30. I'd say 10 minutes, you're solid. Anyways, so 10% of opt-ins, now we're talking 100 page viewers. Now of these 100 page viewers, if they made it this far, they clearly have interest. So ideally we want 15% of those people to actually convert autonomously without us having to outreach them at all. And that's going to be a slam dunk lead. So assume in this scenario, off of a 15% ideal booking rate, we have 15 leads that have just booked in on their own. Now where most people lack is they either only set up automations or they either only set up a converting funnel. You really need best of both worlds. So for that 10% of opt-in, they're all subject to to the automations. Now, if a lead books in, I have a wait stage before my AI appointment setters reach out, and that really helps mask it as if it's a human behind the scenes. As far as like, because I am an AI company, it's kind of obvious out the gate that it's going to be an automation. But for clients that, are B2B or consulting firms, where it's not obvious that we're using AI, this really helps to increase reply rate, increase rapport when they think they're actually talking to a rep on the other side. So let's say we get 15% of the book in, slam dunk lead, of course. So what about the other 85%, the other 85 people of our 100 page viewers? They would usually just, go into the void and never be seen again. But if you have a backend CRM, this is where you greenlight your SMS automations, your email automations. If you don't use AI, then you have your appointment setters reach out to them, you have your dialers call them up and try to get those additional people over to book a call. So let's say of that backend automation metric, we have 10% of our total page viewers make it to that end objective. So we were now able to complement our total traffic and get 25% of people to book a call. Granted, the backend automation side of things may be a slow burn. If you're doing an email newsletter, it may be a month or two before they actually pull the trigger, but that's money left on the table that you really do not want to throw away. And as far as tracking these metrics, you have to have a metapixel set up. Like I'm tracking all my different lead events as far as the page views, who's opting in, who's watching the VSL, even down to the VSL. I use Wista, embeds my VSL onto my landing page, but Wista is able to track the total viewership. So I'm able to see where the drop off is, to see if my VSL is boring or if it's engaging enough. Granted, I do have a 30-minute VSL, but it's because I really do need leads to understand it before they get on a call with me, right? Now, looking into the lead lifecycle of things, so we generated the lead either from one of our traffic sources, lead lists, pre-existing lead lists, organic traffic, or ad traffic from meta ads. We're funneling it over to our AI system and it's booking that appointment for us. So something that you'll likely run into, and this is just the nature of meta ads, unfortunately, because it's cold traffic after all. They don't know, like, or trust us. So a big part of what we're doing is bringing them up to speed as fast as possible. We have to do that through education. One reason I was explaining, guys, that I use talking head videos is because out the gate, they get to see my face. They click over to my funnel. They see my VSL. They hop on my sales call and they see me explaining my services. I have now, with the very little time I've spent with them, built some sort of rapport and they feel like they can trust me a little more. This is going to go a long way. And believe me, I've tried to work with clients that are super reluctant on putting their face out there. Like one of the guys I work with, he was so smart, but he was so unconfident in having his face out there. His background is like software engineering, if you kind of get the idea of, his personality. Very, very smart guy, but he did not want to put his face out there. So he opted to wanting to do like AI generated ads. I know that's been very trendy now, but the truth of the matter is AI generated ads like lack rapport. Like I'd say in a couple of years when AI ads become damn near indistinguishable, like the video quality and all the different nuances are buffed out. But for the time being, you're going to have the best and most trust built off of authenticity. So if you have the guts to put your face out there, it's going to pay off in the long run. Trust me. But anyways, after they book in, we have to have our post-booking automations because what I was getting at is no-show rate with meta ads is such a big issue. Even the top dogs have an issue with show-up rate. Like just to name an example statistic off the top of my head, there's an online business coach called Real Brian Mark, and he said that he has a 60% show up rate. To a lot of salespeople, like, oh, that's a shit sales rate. And see, in a lot of different sales industries, this would be like god awful. For the sake of meta ads, these people, all they did was give us their information and booked in. It's a very low barrier of entry. So there's not a lot of accountability, I suppose. And that's really why an AI system helps to complement this in the sense that we're able to have a conversation with them, especially if we mask this conversation as if it's a team member behind the scenes, someone that works for the company, a representative. There's a little more accountability, like, oh, I already talked to this guy, I told him I'd be there. Another thing I like to do is dial my leads up, especially if it's a qualified lead. Yes, I still use AI, but going back to the whole authenticity and building rapport, you call someone up, introduce yourself, hey, I was looking forward to our call tomorrow. You're still going to make it? That's really going to go a long way. Something I even started doing for some of my clients is threatening to cancel the appointment if they don't respond to us. And if they still don't confirm their appointment, we're straight up going to cancel it. This is something that we'll do only when a client is suffering from success in the sense that we've already got solid traffic conversions and we're really just trying to fine tune show up rates so they're not wasting time when they could be productive, doing something else, but they're stuck on a sales call with a guy that was destined to not show up in the first place. So, at the end of the day, of course, order of operations is you've got to get your top of funnel right. You've got to get your creative set. You have to get an attractive offer that's validated because people are actually clicking over to your page and giving you their information and hearing about the VSL. And then it just becomes about like how you're positioning your offer in the VSL, everything they're going to receive, risk reverse reversal, risk reversal, harp on pain points, explain why your solution helps alleviate their pain points, right? I have a whole entire like script formula I follow. In fact, I'm gonna leave my Instagram link down below. Feel free to DM me if you want to see my VSL script. Happy to show it to you. I mean, it's just a guidance. Like you can plug it into any business. It's like a clear framework to really get like solid interest built. Ballpark for actually getting through the script is about 8 minutes as far as like the filming goes. What I'll even do for my clients is I'll overlay this like strategy onto how we're gonna script out our clients. VSLs, they'll run them, and then we've been able to pretty consistently get good attraction from that. And then another thing that's going to be really valuable for you guys is going to be R&D, research and development, as far as ask questions for your first few sales calls. Be like, hey, what made you want to click on this? Or like what about my ad did you like? This is going to be some valuable data because you're going to hear from a consumer, an unbiased consumer that has no clue who you are. That's honestly a really valid opinion to have, to be honest, especially if they fit your ideal client profile. You want to find more people like that, because when you're setting up your meta pixel, you need to set it up so it only optimizes for those people. Going back to what I was saying, where if a lead books in with me and they answer one of my qualification questions, I have one to gauge how much money they're making. They're making under 10K. I still let them book in, like I said, because I do have a downsell, but we're not letting Meta know about it. And Meta does not deserve to be rewarded for that, is what I've learned. So a lot of people in the industry love to run Facebook lead forms. They're easy, they're quick. There's no brand to it. I love running website visits because they're a lot more branded, meaning, they see my company logo, they see my face compared to just some gray box. Meta lead forms are for rookies, I would say. Website schedules are for more experts, because at the end of the day, the first page of the website is still a lead form in itself. We're still trying to data collect them, of course. It's just a little more on brand. I always recommend data collecting. I don't recommend doing a straight VSL because we want to own our data. If you just do a straight VSL and booking, you're going to miss out on so much potential data. Like in the time running this $6,000, I probably yielded like 1,000 emails over time, right? It really goes a long way to do your part and get that data collection in there. And then the benefit of me only rewarding Meta when I see fit is that I'm building like a very powerful pixel with very clean data. So going back to this Meta leads thing, the whole issue with this is that Meta is getting rewarded. They're getting a pat on the back for getting you sheer numbers. So over time, they're going to be like, hey, we got Scott 100 name, emails, and phone numbers. We're going to keep moving in this direction. But then you look through the quality of these leads and realize that it's dog shit. And unfortunately, with the Facebook lead form, how you can actually go about setting up qualification questions and almost setting up a filtration system is a little more challenging compared to when you push leads over to your own funnel and you have full autonomy to set up, the firewall is what I like to call it. We don't want people to push past the opt-in page if they don't fit the mold. Definitely don't want people to actually trigger our pixel if they book in and they're unqualified. So there's a lot of little steps to make sure that we're getting really clean pixel data. But yeah, guys, that's just a quick look into pretty much everything I've learned during this time running my new offer. I am continuing to move in this direction right now. I'm spending $100 a day doing a king of the hill method, meaning my top of funnel creative is receiving most of the spend. Retargetings are literally $2 a day because these are retargeting 95% of page viewers. And as you can imagine, people that are watching 95%, very small amount of people. And so there's really no point for me to be wasting any more spend than that, just because, $2, we're only hitting a couple hundred people and there's only a couple hundred people sample size to go off of. So king of the hill ad, and then this patio ad's also strapped along that, but we're just getting bodies in. Once they're in our funnel, they'll be retargeted. And then the frequency on these is pretty decent as well. 2 frequency, meaning one person will see our video twice and they may or may not convert. But yeah, guys, hope that makes sense. And if you are curious on how you can work with my team, we guarantee 30 sales calls in the next 45 days of working with us, implementing our AI strategy, which will also include a full funnel build and a full rework of your ad campaign if you already are running one. And if you've never ran ads before, we will help get you ramped up and launch your first campaign so you can start making some money on your high ticket offer. And on that note, I'll see you on the next video.